actual relationship. Just think about it. Slave master or slave master's son really likes this slave. Now, if I say slave, the image in you might be she half naked, butt naked. No. She's clothed. Look. Look at the Democrats and how they've got African Americans right now. They're, in them ghettos. They're stupid. They're twerking. They're doing all kind of anything for sex. Relationship between blacks and whites will always go on. It's about companionship. It's about access to, and some the law couldn't allow you to marry. But think about it now. The law does allow people to marry, but the girls don't really give about it. They'll have babies anywhere, anytime they want, because old slave master will give them child custody support or whatever it is. Make it somebody else pay for it. Women respect and honor when it's one of those things. It is what it is, though. And this outrage about what is being said and what is being proposed, it's the reality. Marriage is a good thing for women, because at the end of the day, they're one step away from being a whore. Now you might say, how could you say that? Listen, it's not good for a man to be alone, and it certainly isn't good for society for a woman to be bouncing around. It's just not. Right? There's a reason. And a woman that sleeps with so many men can't be satisfied. She's doing something to her spiritually and downstairs as well. Because what you got downstairs is supposed to fit, and you're supposed to satisfy with one. But if you got this guy, and then you go to this guy, then you go on back and you can't be satisfied with this guy, but this guy tear you out, and this guy freak you, and then you get a reasonable guy, you'll never satisfy. And it's just one of those things. It was a trick. It was always a trick. And that's why you got a lot of women that don't settle down, because the bottom line is your stock goes down in value the more you do this. It's hard to say it, but they're hard to hear it. When someone says no, they can't hear it. But they'll tell you, when you, Mr. Decent, come along, oh, no man gonna this, no man gonna that, and I ain't gonna stand for this. And they did all their life. They do it all the time. Every dog, dotted, saggy pant, they did. But because you are willing to give a darn about them and respect them, that's when they want to lay down the law to you. And that tells you something about how you must respect women. I mean, I respect them anyway, but they mentally can only take so much. And you can't tell them everything. I don't see the point, because they're only going to use it against you. It's the old Adam and Eve story. What's that got to do with DOS and ADOS? A bit of a rambling broadcast. So really, I just wanted to talk about this new movement, which is actually dealing with specifics. Now, let's get this straight. It's not against anybody else. It's funny how when somebody says you want to deal with your own issues, oh, that means you're anti somebody else. No, but y'all stop riding off my back. Stop riding off African American back. You coming in illegally or whatever it is, dreamers in America. Hey, this is not your country. You didn't do a stroke of work to help build it or anything at all. So you ain't, the piece of the pie that's here, not you. And Ann Coulter, somebody I used to dislike, she's quite right. We don't owe you nothing. We owe our blacks a lot. All these civil wars and affirmative action are for blacks. They're not for you. You're not, it's not our business. You're not our business. So you can't come over and say, oh, let us in, we got to stay. So looking at that argument, what's going on in the borders and the wall and all of that stuff, I understand it. Because they're taking away jobs from blacks. They're forcing them out of the area. In some cases, they're doing drive-bys. When it comes to hiring, they're not hiring them. They don't care about the black struggle. I mean, critical race theory is uh, a concept that Professor Derek Bell created. And these Latinos, Chicanos, and Hispanics, they're actually using it. They're using the title critical race theory, and it's specific. He's actually talking about the 13th, 14th, 15th Amendment and all the issues to do with the African American. And these little po-rags are using the title as bait, but they're focusing on Chicanos. I mean, and Latinos and Hispanics. What's that got to do with America? If you don't speak the language and you go to a country, anybody goes, you're going to have difficulty. If you're settling into a new country and you don't speak the language, you're going to have all immigrants have embedding in problems. You have to learn the language. You have to be on a certain tier before you through time graduate and start to be a part of that country. None of this, you can speak your own language, we're going to spend money to interpret things for you and give you signs. That doesn't work. Do you know what I mean? That doesn't work. And it's the same nonsense going on here. It's the same nonsense. I mean, for a long time, this country has not been doing right by the country that is conquered. Okay, you won. Whatever the conquering was, you won. We understand. But there's phase two. Now you show us why it had to be done and the greatness of it. And show your beneficence. And start to give back. So that we all share it in this realm of the United Kingdom. And you show that you are superior. Because only a superior person will be that beneficent. But, this white supremacy stuff, I don't get it. If someone stole from me, I was out, and he tricked me because he waited for the time for me to go and came and stole my stuff, and he's at my house, eating my, tins of foods or whatever it is I've got in my house, watching my TV or whatever. That doesn't make him supreme. It doesn't make him, if that's your supremacy, well, or superior supremacy. I know superior and supremacy are two different things, but I don't think they, the whole concept of what they're pushing, they push it hard, We are all, we're African. I'm like, are you? You're Jamaican. Do you know what I mean? So, I mean, I'm not going to ramble anymore, because I don't think it's a great video, because, I wish the cricket was on, and I've got some work to do. I'm going to rewrite my dissertation. Just redesign it. I'm going to do it in the form of a book. I'm just going to be a bit different. I'm going to do it in the form of a book. And I'm going to deal with the subjects, the themes. And I'm just going to do them like a chapter. So that's what I'm going to do within, hopefully, get it done by Friday. Okay? A little bit more reading to do. And I'm just preparing because as much as I like what I've written in the original dissertation that got bound, at my uni, you've got to get it bound like a book anyway, you know what I mean? It's got some good research in it, but I've collated some more. And I think I could do an even better job. So if I do get it at some stage saying, well, it was a fail, or you could resubmit, at least I have, I've done it. So that's my point, to do it now. Redesign it, use some of the arguments or some of the research, but present the argument differently. That's what I want to do. So just recapping. When I talked about the cricket, there's supposed to be a game on. It's 1-1 with West Indies versus England. And today looks like it might be rained off. I hope it ain't. But I think it might be rained off, which is a pain in the butt, which means there'll be 2 left. And the next game, I think it's on, I don't know, I'm not going to give you, I think it's 2 days away. So I talked a little bit about cricket. Wearing my Caribbean cricket hat. And of course, and my shirt. I touched a little bit on the the new law, you might call it, compulsory, that school children are going to be taught about sex relationships and all that. I mean, you know, transgender. Do you know what it actually means? I was asking somebody today, you know, when you was at school, did you know any tomboys? Yeah, I knew a couple, I knew a few. I said, you know what it means? Potentially, it means today or tomorrow, a tomboy will be classified as someone in trans mode, if you will. The law will then say to the parent, well, we know this. They probably give these kids hormones, even if the parents don't even know. They give them birth control, and if parents don't know. It's what it is. So potentially parents could be locked up. As they're being locked up, you know, in this country, if your kid bunks off school, parents get locked up. Can you imagine that? You're at work, you don't know your kid's bunked off, and, you know, she bunked off several times. Yeah? Several times. They look you up. Well, imagine, you know, the tomboy, you know, the hormones aren't kicked in yet. They'll turn around and say, well, you know, she's a tomboy, she needs to have hormones treatment, and you're being a horrible parent. You won't let her have an operation. Do you see where we're going? And I have to wonder about these ministers. They had the Minister for Education up there, and I'm like, unfortunately, I can't ring into these shows anymore. I'm not going to change my mobile phone number just for that. I mean, there's, what, 60 million people in this country? What, 1.1 million people of Caribbean heritage? It doesn't have to be coming from a Caribbean perspective. There's about 2 million Asians, maybe 2 million, maybe 3 million Asians, 2 million Africans. There's at least 54 million to 55 million whites of one stripe or another. They ain't got brains to figure this out and raise these questions and tell people. I'm not the only one, you know? I'm only becoming new to this study and understanding. I'm a novice. But for some reason, they know it's me. They say, we'll call you back, and they never do. So I don't waste my time anymore. I mean, I have to admit, when I used to call in on quite a few of these and give my opinion because I was fighting the fight. I'm always fighting the fight, but never get support. So it's boring. So to me, doing this, I'm not asking for subscribers or anything at this moment in time. Of course, I'm going to need money, you know, because of the issues that I've mentioned in other videos. So when that time comes and I, you know, ask for subscribers, if that's how it works, I don't really know how the YouTube thing works. I hope you're willing to actually look at my work, the broadcast, and say, do you like it? If you like it, do you think I'm good enough? By then, hopefully, you know, maybe I get some bumper music and make it sound better and all the rest of it. You know, and break it up and editing and all of that stuff can go on. But at the moment, it is what it is. It's just flat conversation with you. And if you understand it and you can understand the tone of my voice and so forth, then we can, you know, you can learn something here or get an opinion that you will not get on your lamestream radio stations or talk shows. You're certainly not going to get it from these community radio stations, these pirate radio stations, no. Because as it stands, when I bring up stuff, Esther Stanford, that's who it is. They love this chick, Esther Stanford, because she's like their head of reparations, you know, the reparations movement. But I don't know. I've never heard her mention anything to do with the Jewish role in the transatlantic slave trade. And as I've showed you before, 1492, these guys were kicked out of Spain. Christopher Columbus, whose name was Cristobal Colon, was a Morenos Jew. And the guys on his ship, the major guys on his ship, were Ados Cdos. When they left Spain, or were kicked out of Spain, some of them pretended to convert. Some of them went to Holland. In Holland, they set up the Dutch East India Company. That's your opium trade. And the Dutch West India Company was your transatlantic slave trade. Okay? John Hawkins came a full 100 years or so after. Around about 1560. Right? By that time, Spain had the whole of the freaking Hispaniola, the Spanish Main. Portugal had their slice of Brazil and so forth. They were running it. So you're talking about the age of the pirate and Roman Catholicism versus Protestant, all in that mix, and robbing one another on the high seas of their booty, you know? And, of course, when England abolished slavery and outlawed its furthermore, we can hijack your ships and free those slaves, you know what I mean, and take whatever else you got. It's a very interesting, situation, but if you're never going to mention these guys, then who are you covering up for? Why are you covering up? Why don't mention it? Of course, they're going to oy vey, or minimise their role in it, but the history tells that the problem with them is they talk too much. They're forever shouting a lot. Both when they're doing criminality and nobody knows what they're doing, they write and they boast about it. That's the thing with them. They put their own foot in it. That's why they have to bring laws, hate crime laws, because you said something, so they can say, if you say something against that they don't like, then it's a hate crime. It's a rise in anti-Semitic attacks. It's just a ruse to stop you going to look to say, well, hang on a minute, you're guilty of that, you did. Well, it is what it is. The transatlantic slave trade, the colour-coded slavery, would have never had... Slavery has always gone on. But colour-coded slavery never existed. Rome would enslave people they beat. Greeks would enslave people they beat. And it wouldn't be brutal. You can become a citizen, serve your time. In Africa they had slaves. They didn't have a prison, that's all. The system was, you will be in bond. It's better than that than a spear through the heart, isn't it? If the whole village knew that, and you couldn't go anywhere. You need to eat, then you're going to have to work, and you're going to have to be that slave for that time. It's a good system. It's actually a good system. The Bible says, don't be mean, don't be, brutal to your slaves. There was no Wormwood Scrubs, Pentonville, Brixton Prison. There was no Pelican Bay, no Rikers Island, no San Quentin. Do you know what I mean? So, and why would you build this, it's rare that people do these things, crimes in your communities. And it's even rare when you have wars, because wars are the last thing you really want to happen. But wars are plentiful now. They're bankers' wars. They're international bankers making them. But I'm straying. So I spoke about obviously Charles teaching of child sex, because they're trying to mainstream paedophilia. I've said this before. I actually got a book, two free books inside, by some professors who went to a conference, and lo and behold, they found out that's what they're trying to do. And their argument was, we did it with the homosexuals, now we're going to do it with the paedophiles, right? Just mainstream it. And so the UNCRC, look it up. I think it's, you look at Article 12, Article 13, 14, 15. It's pretty much saying when a child says what they want, then they want it. You know what I mean? Well, on the one hand, you say the child can't consent, but here you are, you're saying they got rights, the child's rights, They can say what they want, and they're mainstreaming it. Slowly but surely, they're doing it. And it is that bad. So we've got Shane on TV right now. We've got the final confrontation where Shane comes in there, and Jack Palance, got his legs spread, and Shane's by the bar. They're facing off now. A little bit of talk. And they're going to have the little draw. So, with that, it's going to go down. So Jack Wilson's got two guns. And Shane's just come off the bar with his one gun. Got his hands by his side. And they're about to draw. The kid and the dog's underneath the table watching what's going on. And Jack Lanson's got fiddling with his gloves and he's got the two guns there, legs spread. And the chalk is going to go down right now! Oh, yes! Shane guns him down. And the barman too tried to do a little dirty. Anyway. And with that, I bid you farewell to the next time. Have a good one.